The iPhone 13. Is it still worth picking up? I've been daily driving it for 2 years now, and I've seen it all. Some things survived the test of time, while others not so much. When we look at the iPhone 13 as it was released in 2021, we see a lot of great stuff. Display, design, cameras, battery, everything seems up to date. But now it looks wildly different, and my experience proves that, at least in some ways. If we take a closer look at the specs, we'll see a 6.1-inch 60Hz OLED display that goes up to 800 nits of brightness. The body is made of anodized aluminum and has a front and back glass. Inside we'd find the A15 chip, 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of base storage. It also has a dual camera system that shoots 4K at 60 FPS and cinematic at 1080p 30 FPS. It has a big battery, but I'm gonna come back to that later. I don't want to be biased or anything, but I really love this phone. It's been with me through a lot of stuff and almost never let me down. Yet even so, there were plenty of moments when I wanted to throw it out the window. Let's quickly take a look at the price. As of right now, Apple sells it for $699. On Amazon it can be picked for a lot less. But don't add it to your cart just yet, because you might want to know what hidden secrets this phone holds. There are some things about it that are just right. So right that they get adopted by the next-gen iPhones without changes. The display is one of them. It's hard to count how many movies I've watched on this phone, how many web pages were read and games played. It is a very solid display that doesn't disappoint 99% of the time. When I'm using it indoors, everything's perfect. The only time when I wish I had a more modern iPhone is when I have to use it under direct sunlight. 800 nits is a lot, but not enough. It just doesn't cut it sometimes. And I'm not saying that it's solely a bad thing. Lower brightness means less heat, because as the phone heats up, it drops down the brightness. The iPhone 13 heats up way less than the iPhone 14 Pro, for example, and as a result dims the brightness way less often. Of course, it would have been nice to have promotion here, but knowing Apple, we should be grateful for a smaller notch. Small notch is still better than the dynamic island in 95% of situations. Another thing that makes this phone such an attractive deal is its performance. The A15 inside, even after 2 years, still rocks. The iOS 17 works great on it, and apps open super fast. I must admit, it has lost a bit of its spark in these years, but still never disappoints when it comes to performance. The amount of RAM, however, is starting to dampen the mood. As the apps become heavier, more demanding and frankly speaking less optimized, it becomes harder for this phone to keep everything loaded in RAM. Some apps might need to open from scratch, even if you're just multitasking between 2 apps. Yes, I can write that off on modern developers, but you still need to know this. You need to know that the RAM size will be a limitation. Luckily, the memory itself won't be. 128 GB of base storage is enough for the majority of people. After 2 years of no resets, I've barely reached 70 gigs. Yep, I'm using only 70 gigs, simply because my photos are in iCloud and I have no games to play. I used to, but now I don't. So if you're like me, you're not gonna have any issues with the memory either. You're probably thinking that the same thing applies to the battery. Well, I can't say it's perfect. It can get me through the day most of the time, but I try to keep it charged at all times, just in case. As of right now, the battery health is at 88%, and believe me, I feel every percent lost. It used to hold charge really well 2 years ago, and now it does it worse. Not dramatically worse, just worse. It appears to me that the batteries Apple used in 2021 were of a superior quality than what they're using right now. So this begs a question: will your iPhone 13 live as long as the phone with the battery from 2021? Because if it doesn't, you'll still need to charge it often, sometimes on the go. Normally I use a MagSafe charger, but when I travel I like to use this MagClap stand-go powerbank from Banks. It has a capacity of 10,000 mAh and can charge this iPhone twice and still have some juice for AirPods. And it should charge the iPhone 14 about 2 times too. It has a foldable kickstand that keeps the phone vertical and a matte finish that makes it grippy. But all that for me isn't as impressive as the charging features. 1. It can charge 3 devices at once. I can use USB-A to charge my Apple Watch, USB-C to charge iPhone, and wireless MagSafe to charge AirPods. But what I found new to me is the charging pass-through feature. I can charge the powerbank via Type-C and still charge 2 devices off of it. This basically makes it perfect for traveling. And it's really affordable. Best budget deal. I'll leave a link in the description for you. Use the special code ANDY15 for a 15% discount site-wide. What I really want to talk about, and share my anger are the cameras, namely the camera system on the back. It's great and shitty at the same time. Let me explain. The main 12 megapixel sensor is often really good at taking photos, both during the day and at night. The same goes for the ultra-wide camera. Just take a look at the photos I took. Look at the detail, the colors, the vibrancy. It's all quite good. But what you don't see is me fiddling with the settings, lowering the exposure so the sky won't be blown out. But that's only a part of the story, because there are also videos. And I have a ton of complaints here. 1. The sky is often flashing, and I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but around like 5-6 months ago, the cameras started acting weird. They started to miss the focus, mess up the exposure, HDR, and behave uncontrollably. It all started at the same time, so maybe it's just a faulty software update. But the fact still stands, the sky on videos often flashes. And if you decide to shoot cinematic mode, be ready for the white balance that constantly changes. For comparison, the iPhone 12 doesn't have such a problem after 3 years. Maybe your unit won't have such a problem too, or maybe it will. It's always better to know, right? And the selfie camera, well, it's still good. I don't use it, but when I do, it doesn't disappoint. Another thing that broke is the AirDrop. Again, this can be only my thing, but it just doesn't work as intended. It takes 5 to 10 attempts to send something to my MacBook, and it still manages to cancel itself at random moments. If I use the iPhone 12, there is no such issue. I think you should know about all these minor things before buying, and that's exactly why I'm sharing this. But is it a good deal, and how long will it be supported? These questions are a bit difficult to answer. The price it's going for is quite good, and for the majority of people, this phone will suffice. Your parents, your younger siblings, or even you, if your needs aren't extensive, will enjoy the hell out of this phone. And the price will just keep getting lower and lower year after year. And the software support? Well, judging by the fact that the iPhone 14 has identical chip as the iPhone 13, I think it's safe to say that they will get unsupported at the same time, which roughly translates to around 4 years of more iOS updates. I personally see no reason not to buy this phone. It shoots great photos and videos, gives good battery life, and performs really well in all tasks. And it's really affordable. But before you buy, make sure to do 2 things. 1. Aim for the officially refurbished phones. Avoid used ones or refurbished by sellers. You don't want to risk getting a cheap battery or replacement housing. And second, get the official MagSafe charger. It charges slowly and damages the battery way less. Yes, it costs extra, but trust me, you're gonna be thanking me. I hope this video gave you a useful perspective on the iPhone 13 and that you learned something new today. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye!